r/Ruleshorror posted by you/TheGeckoWrangler. Hello Darryl, Christmas Eve is all but upon us, and it's just about time for that delivery we mentioned earlier. While we've already warned you of the dangers that come with delivering on Christmas Eve, there's a lot you need to know about the customer you're delivering to. All the information you should need can be found below, so please read it thoroughly. It's always best to be properly prepared. Customer name, Nicholas Sinter. Address, 21 Melody CT. Regular order, large dessert pizza, crust made from gingerbread, topped with peppermints and diced sugar plums. Residence description, quaint log cabin, with a large holly wreath displayed proudly on the door. Regardless of the weather, the house will be covered in snow, given that its owner is present. Customer description, Nicholas is a relatively large old man. He's about 6.5 feet tall and just a tad bit overweight. He wears a large gray fur coat with white embellishments and a white trimmed red hat. His hair is white as snow, his cheeks and nose are nearly always cherry red, and he's constantly smiling as if he just heard the best news in the world. Additionally, he carries a large bag overflowing with candy, oranges, apples, and various spices on his back. Rules for delivery. Rule number 1. Once you arrive, listen closely before knocking on the door. As long as you hear Christmas music playing, interrupted occasionally by jolly laughter, you're safe to knock on the door. Rule number 2. If, upon listening at the door, you hear even the faintest sound of scratching, clawing, howling, roaring, or sadistic chuckling, leave the pizza on the porch, honk the horn to let Nicholas know his pizza has arrived, and leave. Don't worry about the payment. Nicholas is beyond honorable, and he'll be certain to reimburse us, most likely with an extra $20 and generous tip as apology for the inconvenience. Trust us, you do not want to meet the source behind those unsettling noises. Rule number 3. Assuming you were able to safely knock on the door, Nicholas will answer shortly. He'll act like you're a long-lost friend and pay with a $100 bill. The old man will insist, however, that none of that money is your tip. He will instead give you a small box made entirely of quarters. That, he'll say, is your tip. Rule number 4. Nick will say this himself, but don't open the box until you're home. He's a generous old man, but also a stickler for tradition. You'll be beyond tempted to open it immediately. But again, do not do it. Doing it thereafter Nicholas has told you not to is a serious mistake. Rule number 5. After you've made the delivery, Nicholas will invite you inside. Accept this invitation. Not accepting it is nothing short of rude in this case. You do not want to be rude around this house. Rule number 6. When inside, stay as far away from the wooden door next to the fireplace as you can. There's a reason so many locks and chains are fastened around it. Even getting within a few feet of it could have serious consequences. Rule number 7. Nicholas will offer you a mug of hot chocolate. Again, accept it, as denying the drink would be offensive to your host. Rule number 8. Nicholas tends to be quite talkative. He'll often end up asking you various questions about yourself, ranging from various preferences and hobbies to personal matters he shouldn't know to ask. Whatever he asks, answer truthfully. Not only can Nicholas recognize when someone's lying, but there's another individual in the house who can full-on sense it. Rule number 9. As we've probably made clear by now, avoid being even slightly rude or otherwise offensive around Nicholas. Don't even think about anything remotely hateful. Negative thoughts and emotions have a powerful effect on a friend of Nick's. Rule number 10. Old Nicholas is extremely perceptive. Should you start acting or even thinking offensively, he'll warn you to stop, insisting you might wake up all cramps. Heed his warning. Things could get out of hand very quickly otherwise. Rule number 11. Try to listen to everything going on outside while you're in Nicholas' cabin. If you hear any rambunctious or otherwise unpleasant individuals nearby, politely excuse yourself and leave immediately. Someone is about to wake up, and it's best you aren't around when he does. Rule number 12. If you do act offensively, or offensive individuals are nearby the house, things might be about to get out of hand. The chain door will start rattling and shaking with force, and a large hairy hand will start reaching through the gaps in the wood. Be careful that the hand doesn't manage to grab you. Rule number 13. Nicholas will be quick to act when cramps starts to get free. He'll try to hold the door shut as its locks begin snapping and breaking off. At this point, get ready to leave. Nicholas isn't anywhere near as strong as cramps, and likely won't be able to keep him from getting out. Rules for escaping cramps. Rule number 1. If Nicholas yells for you to run, he's about to completely lose his hold on the door, and cramps will be free shortly. It's best that you leave immediately if you haven't already. Cramps has been locked up all year, and he's more than eager for a little fun. Rule number 2. Cramps will chase you down as you flee the neighborhood. While he isn't exactly fast, he's been chasing down runaway victims for quite a while. They don't escape him on a regular basis. While we probably don't have to say this, do not let him catch you. The most merciful punishment he's ever given in this state was a partial skinning paired with the amputations of multiple fingers. Rule number 3. Cramps is extremely strategic. and knows the layout of this neighborhood quite well. However, he still has several tells you can use to avoid him. That said, you must be vigilant. If you don't act properly according with what you see and hear, you have no chance of escaping. Rule number 4. Always listen for the sounds of heavy breathing and rattling chains. Those are typically the best indicators for where Cramps is. Rule number 5. Be very, very observant as you're going down the road. Cramps will often throw things at your car in an attempt to distract you. These range from branches and rocks to lawn ornaments and mailboxes. Rule number 6. Should you hear the sound of tiles clicking, Cramps is running across the nearby rooftops. Try to spot him as quickly as you can. He'll be leaping towards you once he gets close enough. Rule number 7. Should Cramps ever yell, "Run, little rabbit," you need to immediately turn around and drive in the opposite direction. He only ever says this if you're headed into an inescapable situation. Rule number 8. Be careful when you hear Cramps laughing. He has a habit of throwing his voice, and somehow even the sound of his chains, to faraway spots as to redirect and confuse his quarry. Especially be mindful of his laugh when you're at a crossroad. Rule number 9. If Cramps ever gets out in front of your car, turn around quickly and immediately. He's been known to catch cars by throwing his chains at them as they drive past, or even just letting them run him down. The tires all but get ripped off the car when he does this. Rule number 10. If Cramps does manage to get a grip on your vehicle, your best option is to stop the car. His grip is too strong for you to pull away, and the longer you resist, the worse his punishment for you will be. Rule number 11. Before he punishes you, there's one last thing you can do: apologize. Apologies have no effect on Cramps, but he has a strong connection with Nicholas. They definitely have an effect on him. On the off chance that apology got Nick's attention, that may be enough to save you. Truthfully, it's the only chance you have at that point. That should be everything you need to know about Nicholas. He's been around for a very long time, as is Cramps. They work as a pair, with Nicholas rewarding those he deems good-hearted, and Cramps punishing those he deems wicked. The problem is, Cramps considers everyone to be wicked. The littlest mistake, be it a single lie or careless neglect, is enough to get his sadistic attention. And even worse, he's been waiting all year to torture someone. His first victim of every year always suffers the most. Last Christmas, a man was found in a ditch missing several of his fingernails and most of his teeth. The previous year, a notably misbehaved child woke up to find he was covered in burn marks and badly crippled. And the year before that, a wealthy businessman discovered that his house had been burnt to the ground. Most notably, however, Cramps has never actually killed anyone, no matter what they've done. For you see, in Krampus' eyes, death is an escape, and that is one thing he will never be.